5 or 10 minutes if you don't mind, because I know the traffic is kind of bad. They won't go any longer than that, just to see if anybody else comes.
We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending our first of many Crime Watches meetings that we will be having. My name is Chief Pete Delgado. I've been here for a very long time. I actually started in the police department back in 1987 as a dispatcher and became a policeman shortly thereafter, and went away for a little while and then came back to West Miami, and I've been here since 2001. okay? So there really isn't a lot about the city that I don't know, or maybe that I can't answer for you. I'd like to introduce Vice Mayor Natalie Milian Orbis, for those of you that do not know her. She's our Vice Mayor. And over here to my left is my command staff. In the middle is Major David Valencia, Lieutenant Pedro Arcia, and my executive officer, Eric Alvarez. Welcome, Terry and Michael Smart. So the reason why we're having this is because there's always a lot of questions as to, what our crime trends are, what's going on in the city. There's also been times where you've been misinformed, perhaps. So I want to make sure that everybody gets the right information as to what's going on here with our crime trends. And so that you get to know me, if you don't know me already, and my command staff as well. All of you can come to see us whenever you want. You don't need an appointment. If you're a city resident, you can walk in and tell them you're here to see myself or my command staff, and you're more than welcome to come in and talk to us about any of your concerns. Okay, you can also email us, or you can call me direct. As soon as he puts up the PowerPoint, we'll get started. Oh, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Chief, for the introduction. I'm your Vice Mayor, Natalie Milian Orbis, and I want to thank our police department, first of all, for putting together this first Crime Watch of the year, and hopefully we'll have several more this year. I know that our community here in West Miami prides itself on our small town feel and on making sure that we prioritize public safety and that our residents feel that they are safe in their homes and that the community is a safe place to live and for our children and our elderly and everyone. So, I was happy to bring back the Crime Watch. I know we're calling it the first, but I know that we used to have a Crime Watch many years ago, and I'm happy to bring that back because I think that is very important because our residents, those of you who are here, can keep us up to date and informed as to what you are seeing. You're our eyes and ears in the community as well, and we're happy to work together to make sure that we stay on top of everything that is important to you. So with that, I'll turn it over to our chief. I'll be here after the meeting to take any questions that you all may have, and I'm happy to continue serving the city in any way that I can. So please feel free to reach out to me, either at this meeting or after. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. So I want to share a couple of stats with you. I'm going to start back in January. I'm going to tell you that January was a pretty slow month for us crime-wise, which is actually very good. We had burglary to a conveyance. We had several petty thefts of packages. We had a couple of frauds. We had criminal mischief, which is a vandalism. We had two assaults and batteries, and that's typically domestic related, okay? We had 7 traffic arrests, which is very low. Our officers typically, right during the holidays and after the holidays, they tend to look the other way on a lot of things because we know that folks are tight and, they don't want you to necessarily be cited during that time. Our warrant arrests, we only had 1. And we had 3 misdemeanors and 3 felony arrests. Some of these felony arrests were cleared by our criminal investigation unit. So meaning somebody commits a felony, we have a lead on this person or these people, and our detective goes out and does a follow-up, and through either facial recognition, which we have that capability now, or just investigative leads, he goes ahead and he closes the case by making an arrest. That was January. February, we had 1 burglary to a conveyance, and that I want to talk to you about when we get into the other presentation. We had 6 thefts, 3 frauds, 1 stolen vehicle, 3 batteries. We had 58 traffic arrests. So we usually are in between about 35 and 60 traffic arrests a month, okay? What that means is there's folks driving out here with suspended licenses, no insurance, no valid driver's license at all, okay? And that's basically what that is. Your warrant arrests, we had 2. We had 4 misdemeanor arrests and 2 felony arrests for that month, And here's March. Along the same lines, we have 3 vandalisms, 7 thefts, 3 frauds again, 2 stolen vehicles, and 48 traffic arrests. We had 1 misdemeanor and no felonies for the month of March. So before I get on to the next slide, I want to talk to you about why is it? Oh, well, welcome, Commissioner. Commissioner Juan Blanes, standing in the back. Why is it that we have vehicle burglaries? Can anybody tell me why? Why do you think? You're my favorite. The reason why we have vehicle burglaries is because folks don't lock their doors. This is a very safe neighborhood, probably one of the safest neighborhoods in Miami-Dade County, but you got to help yourself too. So if you leave your purses or your wallets or something of value inside the car and you lock the door, chances are if they can look in there, remember, burglary is a crime of opportunity, just like theft. It only takes a couple of seconds to walk by a car and see that there's something of value and break your window and take your item, okay? Now imagine how easy this is for what we call door pullers. A door puller is an individual that walks the streets at night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, usually undetected. When he is detected, he gets stopped and sometimes arrested. But if he's not, he's going to go around your neighborhood and he's going to pull on that door handle of the car. And guess what? If the door comes open, now he's got free reign of your car. And so this happens a lot. Folks forget to lock their vehicles. The same with stolen vehicles. Many of the times when we have a stolen vehicle, it's because you don't lock the door. And so they have access to the inside. They've actually gotten very sophisticated lately where they actually make your fobs that open and close your car doors. They actually have them where they can start your car as well. Okay, so hopefully everybody's got a vehicle alarm or something that's built into the vehicle, like a cutoff switch that prevents that. Again, we have very few of those in the city, mainly because of our patrol personnel, okay? But again, we all have to do our part, okay, in trying to secure your stuff. So the 4 Ds of crime prevention I want to talk about. The first one is deny. That means you're denying the opportunity for someone to enter or remain on your property. When we get into that definition of entering or remaining, I want to ask somebody, because a lot of times we might get a phone call, and the phone call says, I've been robbed. And then when we get into what are you talking about? Where do you live? And they give us the address. Most of the times it's not here, but we ask, what do you mean you've been robbed? Yeah, somebody broke into my house. That's not a robbery. A robbery is a crime that happens by force, fear, or intimidation, and it has to be on a person. Robbery is a person's crime. Burglary is a property crime. So if somebody breaks into your house, it's not a robbery unless they're committing a home invasion robbery, which we haven't had here in the last 17 years, okay? If they break into your house, it's because they know you're not home. Chances are they know you don't have an alarm system, okay? So I recommend that everybody get a good alarm system and actually put cameras up. That really does help, okay, in identifying who committed the crime. Delay. So this is where the alarm comes in and the cameras come in. So if you have an alarm system and it is registered with the city of West Miami, what's going to happen is the alarm company is going to call us directly. Then we are going to dispatch our units, and within 60 seconds to 90 seconds, you're going to have a vehicle outside of your house, a police car. If the alarm is not registered with the city and it's registered in Miami-Dade County, the alarm company calls Miami-Dade County Police Department or the sheriff's office, and then the sheriff's office calls us. So now there's a delay of several minutes, and so this is where you want to delay the process of entry. Yes, sir. Lights. Yep.
Lights are very important. A lot of people don't use lights because they think they're going to save on their power and light bills. And believe me, these new lights, I
Yep.
have that all throughout my house, and that is a deterrent to thieves. They don't like the light.
No, that's a good point. Thank you, Commissioner. So that's where part of the detection comes in, okay? Unlawful entry via devices. So again, I live in a gated community in Homestead. I wasn't fortunate enough to find a house in West Miami that I liked, except yours, and you're not going to sell me your house. And you know what? I have cameras, I have the lighting, like he just mentioned, and it's a very safe area because it's actually gated and they don't let you in or whatever. You know what? I still have all of those things. So it's important. Get a camera system, get some lights. If you have high bushes, trim them down because that also, helps us to see as we're driving by if there's anybody hiding in the bushes. Deter criminals from committing a crime. All of these things that we just talked about are a direct deterrence, okay? The harder you make it for them, the less likely you're going to be that you're going to be the victim of a crime. So we're going to talk about home, car, out and about, identity theft, and cybercrime. So in the home, make sure your doors are sturdy, okay? They make them out of metal, wood. Just make sure that your door is, sturdy enough that if they try to kick it open, it's not going to come open. If you have any exterior doors, make sure that they open outward and not inward, okay? Meaning the hinges are on the outside of the door. Because if somebody tries to kick it in, it's going to be a lot harder if the door opens outward. Install your deadlocks and your locks on your exterior doors, peepholes on exterior doors, lighting. Again, we talked about lighting, motion sensors, trim your shrubbery, cameras, and home alarms. Make sure you register them with us. The folks in apartments or condominiums, says be cautious around entrances, parking areas, hallways, stairways. So does anybody live in the buildings in the surrounding area here? Okay. So I won't get into too much of that, but you got to be careful because those buildings sometimes, if the lights go out in the parking garage, it gets kind of dark in there. So make sure that if anybody's listening, if you do live in the buildings and the lights go out in the parking garage, make sure you let somebody from management know. Car-wise, carjacking prevention. Carjacking is stealing a car by force. Okay, we haven't had a carjacking here in many years. Okay, thank goodness. But again, you got to be aware of your surroundings. Walk with a purpose to your car and stay alert. Approach, here's what we see, and we see this all the time. Folks are walking to their cars, or folks are walking down the sidewalk, and what are we doing? We're like this. And you're not paying attention to your surroundings, okay? So make sure when you're walking that you're paying attention. The other thing that I see is a lot of times we walk with headphones on. Well, if you're playing music in your headphones and it's loud, you're not going to hear somebody coming up behind you. So make sure that you turn it down or don't walk with headphones on. Be cautious of people who approach you and ask for directions or handing out flyers. Keep your doors locked and your windows rolled up. If you think someone is following you, head for the nearest brightly lit area or police station. Everybody knows where we're located, right? Below here. So if somebody's following you, just drive in here. Remember, our dispatch is manned 365, 24/7. There's always a human being sitting there, okay? And your chances of being victim of a crime if you drive into the police station is significantly less than if you try to go home, okay? Always lock the doors and take the keys with you. Park in a well-lit area near sidewalks or walkways. Never leave valuables in plain view. Now, women, ladies, I'm sorry, but you're notorious for that, okay? You like to leave your purses in the car. I don't know how many times I've seen y'all pull up to the gas station and you leave your purse on the passenger side and you turn around and you pump gas like this, sometimes even like this, looking at your phone, okay? And what's happening behind you is somebody's opening the door and taking your purse. That has happened here, okay, many times. So just make sure that you stay aware and alert. When you're out and about, again, stay alert, walk or jog on the sidewalk. Do not walk or jog after dark. We don't see a lot of this here. We see a lot of walkers, not a lot of joggers. Just make sure that you do it while it's still light out. Wear brightly colored or reflective clothing. Vary your route or your pattern. If you walk in a certain pattern and somebody wants to follow you and they do this for a week at a time, they know exactly what corner you're going to take. So kind of vary the way that you walk. And always be aware of your surroundings. When you go to an ATM machine, avoid using ATMs when you're by yourself. Sometimes you're better off going to a gas station where the ATM is inside of the gas station. There's other people there, and withdraw the money even if you're going to get hit with a $3 surcharge, than to go to an ATM that it's there's nobody there, right? It's at night. Avoid using them after dark always. So identity theft, this is something that we do get sometimes, the frauds that you saw listed. You got to be careful. There's a lot of this going around. Recently, a couple of months ago, I got a text from the vice mayor who actually sent me a screenshot of a scam that was going around concerning the tolls. Okay? We've all gotten those where it says, you haven't paid your tolls, click here to pay. There's a lot of folks that fall, prey to that. So just make sure, if you're not sure of what it is, folks, we're here 24/7. Call us. We'll come out to your house. My officers will talk to you. They'll look at your text. They'll determine whether or not it's legitimate if they can. But don't give out your personal information. Don't carry your social security card, birth certificate, or passport with you. There's a lot of times where we'll get a call saying, hey, I'm at Tropical Supermarket and I lost my passport or my certificate of naturalization. And I go, why are you walking around with a certificate of naturalization? It makes no sense, right? So if you're going to walk around or go out, make sure that you leave that stuff at home. Pay attention to your billing cycles and check your credit card report at least twice a year. There's a platform called Credit Karma, creditkarma.com. If you go on there, typically it's free. It's a free service, and you can check your credit report to make sure there's nothing in there that stands out, okay, on a monthly basis. Cybersecurity, again, be careful with your phones. Don't use obvious passwords. If you have a password that you like, I get it. We become lazy. We don't want to have to remember a dozen passwords all the time, but it would be a wise idea to change your password at least every quarter, okay? That way, if somebody tries to get your password, it's a new password. Be careful before responding to messages from unfamiliar persons. I want to tell you there was another scam going around here many years ago, which was somebody would get a phone call from an unknown person who would say, we have your nephew, your brother, your son, and he's hurt, and unless you send me money, we're not going to tell you where he's at. And we had some people wire money to a crypto account, and there's no way to track that. So again, be careful and be leery of those calls, okay? Yeah. 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 Good point. Good point, Terry. So yeah, there is something called multi-factor, two-factor authentication, and what'll happen is when you try to sign in, they'll send you an actual text message with a number, and you have to put that number in. If not, it won't let you sign in. All right, this is the biggest thing. You, our residents, are our eyes and our ears. We cannot be in all places at one time, okay? Regardless of how small the city is or how many folks we have working a shift, it is impossible for my guys to be at every single location. So if you see something, say something. If you see something that doesn't look right, call us, okay? Call our number. You don't have to give us your name. If you want to remain anonymous, you can remain anonymous, but at least we can send units out there, okay? When you call dispatch, remember when you call the station number, the 0530 number, make sure that you press 1 to get the front desk, okay, dispatch. Report to the police department right away. Doesn't matter when it is, we're open 24/7. Remember, in case of an actual emergency, you're better off dialing 911. Why? Because that is a multicast radio transmission. So not only do we get it, but everybody else gets it. And if there's a unit that's closer, they're going to take the call. Okay, so if it's an actual emergency, you can call 911. Any questions? Terry?
What do you suggest for, like, there's some vehicles, you're approaching the vehicle and press that, we've been all 4 doors open, when my car does that, and I always get apprehensive, somebody can come and jump behind me or something. What do you suggest?
What I suggest is that there's a way to disable that, where if you press it one time, only your door opens, and if you press it twice, then all the other doors will unlock. The other thing I can suggest is wait until you're right at that door to open it. Don't hit it and then walk to the car. Just hit it as you start to get closer to the car. And a lot of cars nowadays, when you touch the door handle, they're going to open without you having to use the fob. So that's a good point. Anybody else?
In terms of fobs, what crooks like to do now is they scan the streets and they have this wand that they create that amplifies your signal. Go on Amazon, and for anywhere between $7 and $30, you can buy little Faraday bags that have a wire mesh, typically copper. You stick your keys in it. I'll put my keys in the back of the house so that the signal's real weak. But when you come in, just stick them in there if you like putting them by the door, and then they can't do that to you. Because they'll amplify your fob and then take off with your car.
Good point. Anybody have any other questions?
Faraday bag.
The lighting
Yes.
at, it's
Yes.
on the side.
We talked about that last time. Yeah. So I already addressed that with public services.
I tried taking
Yeah.
pictures at night, but when I take
Yeah.
a picture, it like
Right. You get a star.
dude, you can't see it.
Yeah. And you're talking about the 15th Street side. Yeah. Yeah. They're currently looking at that to improve the lighting there. I agree. The lighting there has to.
Other people can be in those bushes.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. You sure? Okay. All right. Anybody else? Michael, you got anything for the good of the order?
You know, my bodyguard's right here.
Okay. So you're good. You feel safe. Yes, sir.
I got one last little suggestion, which is to avoid people breaking into your doors. Your doors have the knob, obviously, and that bolt goes into a little striker plate, you know, on the frame of the door. Thing is that those things are in there with little screws that are about 1/4 inch long. For 2 cents a screw, you take those little ones out and you put 2 1.5 inch ones in there, and you could be 300 pounds and you're not kicking that door in. For the equivalence of about 5 cents.
Even if it opens in.
I'll come do it for you.
No, but then-
Dr. Smart won't do it. He's too busy doing his
How you doing?
lawn.
Good. We're just talking about crime prevention tips. Okay. Okay. Do you have any questions for us? Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Again, you need to harden the target. If you don't make it easy for everybody, for these guys. Remember, the majority of crimes, and I said it before, they're crimes of opportunity. If they see an opportunity, they're going to take it. Okay, so just be aware.
I was gonna add that, I don't know if you mentioned it before, but obviously our phone number here, the police department phone number is a little bit different than 911, there's a direct line, right? So a suggestion that has worked for me too is to save it on your phone, under police, or something that will go to the top of your phone list, like a letter A or something. Because in an emergency, you're nervous, and you may not be able to dial or search for the phone number, so like, if your mind triggers policía or police, you just look that up really quick and you can connect to our department faster than having to like Google the number or.
That's a good-
dial 305
yeah.
666.
Yeah, make sure you lock the numbers, and actually there's There's two numbers, the 0530 and 0531. Those are the two lines, okay? But again, if it's an emergency, we prefer that you call 911. However, if for some reason you end up with us, we're going to respond, okay? It's not an issue. You know, if you'd rather call us, no worries. We'll be there just as fast if you call 911 than if you call us directly.
That's one of the things I always tell the new residents. I tell them not to call 911. If they need police, call our phone number. Now, fire rescue, if you need the paramedic, then you dial 911. But police, I always tell them to dial our number.
Correct.
Because, you know, I mean, the response time will be a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Get transferred from 911 dispatcher to another one, and then finally ends up with us.
Yeah.
So I know that maybe that's something that we can.
Well, typically it's rather quick. When somebody calls 911 and they answer the phone and they say, Miami-Dade Sheriff's, what's your emergency? And you tell them, before you're done telling them what's going on, if you just start with your address or whatever, they're already dispatching fire or they're already dispatching us, okay? So it's a very quick process. If somebody's having a cardiac arrest, for example, and you call 911, they're going to dispatch fire automatically. If you call us, then all we have to do is get on the radio and dispatch fire. So it's really not a difference, okay? If you want to call us, well, you're going to get the same response as if you didn't.
Chief, I don't know if you mentioned it or not, but I think there's a way with your alarm company where instead of them dialing 911 in emergency, they dial your number.
I did, yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Yeah, the alarms have to be registered with us because I'm telling you, that cuts down the response time by like 3 minutes or 4 minutes. You could do a lot of damage in 4 minutes in a house. So by cutting that response time, you know, it's a lot more effective.
I don't know if this has been resolved. I know that in 2019, when my mom, she was having a stroke, I was doing it myself. And I was aware of the issue, where then it picks up the nearest cell tower, and the nearest cell tower is the one in City Miami. So being that I know that there's an issue with that, I hung up and I picked up from my family. But then you might want to bring up that if somebody's using a cell phone, make sure they say City of West Miami Police, so they don't.
Right.
So right away when they pick up, they're not wasting time sending it down there, then sending it back.
Yeah, that's,
I know that's still an issue. and
Yeah.
nothing has been resolved yet. That's the cell phone.
so sometimes when you call 911 from any in this area, you're going to get the county. But it could be that it's going to pick up the nearest cell tower. So in a case like that, obviously she was having an issue. 911 was called. That was the right call for rescue reasons. But again, I think if anybody wants to call the station, again, that's going to be just as fast as if you called 911. We tell everybody that because it's faster to dial 911 than it is to dial the entire number. But on your cell phone, if you save it like the vice mayor was talking about, it's just boom, you're there.
So if you call the number the vice mayor said.
Yes.
They will say, having a heart attack.
Oh,
They're gonna take us, it's gonna be as quick as it.
of course. If they say, well, hang up and dial 911, we got issues, Terry. Yeah,
Now when it's in person.
yeah, no, that'll never happen here. Yeah, no, we're going to answer. He's going to say West Miami Police. You're going to say I'm having a heart attack. He's going to go, address, right? Because we need to know the address. And then you're going to get, our units are going to get there before fire rescue. That's, and that's not a dig at our fire folks, but
You guys was great when my mom passed. He was
Yeah.
immediately there on the cameras, and, he was great. So I really am, hiding.
That gentleman over there.
So he was great, and he was there, and we were out of town, we were in Tallahassee, so I was witnessing the thing from my camera side, so I appreciate that he was there. In retrospect, it's best that she went, because at that age, other people-
Right.
But at that moment, you're appreciating somebody.
of course.
Taking the time to bring her back. So I know you guys are great, and in front of everybody, I know Michael wrote a really nice letter, but I just in front of everybody, I really want to recognize him.
Thank you. Now that you said that, or you said out of town, you just sparked something. So those of you that are going to go out of town on vacation, for the weekend, whatever, we have a watch order, right? So you're going to call the station, tell them you're going out of town. They're going to ask you your address. If you're leaving any lights on, they're going to ask you how many cars are going to be in the driveway, what cars are in the driveway, are you expecting anybody to come feed the dogs or the cat? And then that watch order will be in place until you get back. And what does that get you? Several times during the shift, both day shift and night shift, will go by your house and make sure that there's nobody breaking into your house, okay? So that's what that gets you. So, and when you get back, it usually has an end date, okay? I would call anyway when you get back just to make sure, hey, I'm back in town, thank you very much, everything's fine, you know? I also do recommend that if you're gonna go out of town, leave a light on, you know? Leave the front porch light on. That's a biggie, you know? If you have a light in the backyard, some folks have timers on their lights, which is great, because then it'll turn on the light inside the house. And if they see cars in the driveway, what do they think? There's somebody home. We're not gonna go near that house. So, again, call us. It's a free service. We love to do it. No worries. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you for that. So you're going to get your house tented? Please call us. That's a watch order, okay? Several years ago, we had a couple of homes that were burglarized in the city because they were tenting. They didn't tell us they were tenting, and the bad guys actually went in with gas masks, and when they took the tent off the house, they realized they had been broken into, okay? So if you tell us your house is going to be tented, that's an automatic watch order.
Do you know if they're putting any speed bumps on night?
I do not. I know you do want one. Probably as tall as me. Knowing you. Yeah. I'm not sure. I have heard talk about that, but I don't know for sure. Next Crime Watch meeting, I'm going to leave that up to my executive officer, Eric Alvarez, who will tell me what the schedule looks like. And I would like to say, maybe, I'd like to do one of these quarterly to give you all a screenshot, you know, of the last 3 months, like we did now, so that you are informed. Okay, so that I'll talk to the manager about, and we'll make sure that we get it done. Whether it's quarterly or every 6 months, but, you know, at least a couple times a year. Everybody else is good? Anything else, Vice Mayor? Commissioner? You good? Mr. Chavez? You're good? Mr. Smart? You good? Command staff, you guys good? Got anything? Thank you for coming, and we're going to pass around the sheet. If you can, please put down your information there that you attended. We'll send you a little certificate of attendance. Honorary Crime Watch, folks. I'll leave it up here. You guys can just come up here and do it. You can shut off the mic.